Why are you smiling?
I don't know. Did anybody do this educational disparities assignment yet?
I researched a little bit. So
Yeah, I did a little bit. Not really much.
what is educational disparities?
Good question. I'm glad you asked because I was just on this webpage researching it, which is ironic. However, it's an unequal distribution of academic resources. Pretty much like the school funding, the technology that, some schools may have opposed to other schools that may not have it, textbooks, the quality of the teachers, and pretty much like the school funding. So basically, like, I feel like we kind of face some of those issues here, being that we go to a HBCU compared to, PWIs, as far as like, textbooks, the funding. As far as the funding, I won't get too deep into that, but, PWIs may be funded more money depending on their performances compared to HBCUs, which is being compared to those schools that may have more people giving back to their school community, or, just based on their performance, being awarded grants and scholarships and stuff.
And not even with just educational grants, they get donations from everywhere else too. That's for the same reason why when you go in Walmart, there's way more FSU stuff than there is FAMU. It's like a whole section for FSU and a half of a corner for FAMU. They get funded way past education. They get funded way past sports, and it's all because of black versus white. It's a never-ending topic. So with educational disparities, it's something it's so obvious. Like, you could walk across the street and see how different it is from us, and we only down the street from FSU, and it's so different.
But
their classrooms don't look the same. Like, we got classrooms in what building is that? The social work building. Have y'all ever been down there?
Oh my God,
it's terrible.
scary.
Them buildings ain't never been. Benjamin Banneker, they never been built over. Like, they old. FSU building, they're building college campuses, and it's coming on our side. Like, they get funded for stuff like that, and we can't even get a new classroom. Like, it's way beyond what we could see too.
Yeah, that's true. But again, it goes back to segregated times when in the 1960s, African American, Latino, Native Americans they was in segregated schools, so that the funding was extremely low, more than like white or more privileged people, because some African Americans may be able to pay for it, but that's still like a small percentage than everyone else.
And these troubling trends, they come to a point at certain implications for policies and for our society. We are failing to have the foundational experiences from like pre-K. There's been like a gap, it's a narrowing in the gap between the 1990s and 2010 that suggests the investments within pre-K programs and early education. It's just the poverty rates are just increasing in the concentration within the neighborhoods as well for Black and Hispanic children.
That is true, because differences in early education and child care are associated with like academic performances and like school readiness for ethnic and race minority children prior to entering grade school. So if you're not even ready when you enter grade school, even when you're going into middle school, high school, then once you get to college, it's still your education experience just like it's building on top of each other. So now I'm not education-wise, I'm not ready. Now I have bills. Now I have to pay for these books. Now I have to eat every day. So all of this will affect your education, because eventually they'll just be like, honestly, I'm gonna work and then I'm gonna put my education on the back burner, which education is what's gonna make you the money in the long run.
And then you have to come and compete with those, the other side. It's like you never really had a chance from day one.
Yeah, speaking on that too, about the performance of, like, many people who go to PWIs, they don't have to worry about working. They don't have to worry about, anything other than their education. They're being awarded scholarships, more than enough to pay for their classes, so they don't have to pay for bills. They don't have to pay for their car notes. As compared to students who go to HBCUs, here we're trying to go to school, go to work to pay for school, then come home and study, then try to feed ourselves, then, so it really,
It's
like,
income gap.
yeah, it's a big unequal distribution.
And a lot of us are first generation college students as well, so we don't have nobody to, you
Support
know,
us
you
financially.
gotta do this and do that. It's nobody training us, it's nobody telling us which way to go. At PWI, it's not to, you know, sing them out, but they have, you know, resources for people to tell them, this is what you do, this is how you go about it. People at HBCUs are more likely to be first generation, and we just trying to figure it out. We don't have nobody telling us, we don't have nobody helping us, we don't have the resources to go about it. So we, you know, taking it one step forward and taking 30 steps back, and we just, you competing with these people and we really don't have a chance.
That's true. And I think education disparities is gonna last, honestly, until they realize that it doesn't matter, like, your economic status, your location. Education should be, like, general all around. Like, it should be the same. Like, just because they make more money, they should learn more, or they make less money, so we're just gonna get them what we can. But it goes back to racism. Since if racism never ends, education disparity is not gonna end. And we still see racism today, so education disparity is gonna be here. We just have to basically climb out of a hole or build on top of it, or make ourselves successful so that our generations can go through school easier and basically have less stress on them. Because me and my mom go to school at the same time. Like, she's taking finals, I'm taking finals. So it's like, it's still, just because of her education disparity, she didn't have the same opportunities as other people, or it was just lack of resources of not knowing, like, where we come from. It's like, you see everybody that looks like you. So, and everybody in the same spot, so you don't see nothing wrong, but then once you look and see, well, they have this, or they able to go here. Our technology even lags here at our HBCU than other schools, how Kamani was saying.
I think our plight is just different though. And investing in our communities is what's gonna change the way it is, because I mean, higher income neighborhoods, their property taxes are included in funding for schools in general. So of course, higher, more affluent neighborhoods are gonna have better resources for their students. They're gonna be able to hire more teachers. That's less students in a classroom and more one-on-one time with your students. It creates a better learning environment for your students. And I know that personally because I went to an all-black charter school in a rough neighborhood, and though I had good teachers, there were a lot of students per teacher. I got into a lottery and I went to a predominantly white school. There were more teachers. There was a bathroom in my classroom. Like, there were computers in the classroom. It was just a much better environment for me, and I did excel when I got to that school. So I think investing in our communities will definitely change the course of that.
One of the things that I noticed with educational disparities is redlining plays a big role in it. Redlining and subprime loans. Redlining is basically where you draw a circle around. It's basically like drawing a circle around a community, and everybody in that community can't get out of that community because leasing companies aren't leasing to them to let them move out, and then banks aren't allowing them to buy homes. So then you're kind of stuck in an area. Therefore, I can say, oh, you're zoned for that school. That school is still performing poorly, although I possibly could have the chance of going somewhere else. But I can't, because I can't move out of that area. And then subprime loans are another big factor where it took people that were at risk people, which so happen to be African Americans, and it was pushed on us. And we faulted on these loans, and then our homes that we bought got taken away. So those are just two ones that we've pointed out as of just recently, but it goes back all the way to slavery. Like, they were telling us, hey, we can't get educated. They said the most dangerous black person is an educated one.
That's scary too, to think about, like, if it's been going on since, slavery times, that we couldn't be educated, they don't want you to read because, we'll become powerful in XYZ. So where is it gonna take us in the future? Like, this is really, scary.
Which we did make a lot of progress, of course, as far as education, getting thus far, us being able to sit in the classroom, because our school, I love my school. So our school is nice, I love my school, but we've made it so far. But again, how Blake was saying, if we invest more into our communities, and honestly, it's more black owned, like, things around us, and we just invest in each other, so that the younger generation, because they are our future, make sure that their education, they're able to have multiple resources. They they can come on campus, or we can be able to teach them stuff that we never knew. So once they get here, it'll be an easier transition, or we don't have so many dropouts after our freshman year. Because I know living in a village, I've seen people one semester and then it's like 10 people that have just left because with, you know, personal circumstances, school, resources. I know chemistry department, they have a lot of like teachers that you can't even understand. Me taking organic, I'm trying to learn something that's gonna benefit the world, but I can't understand you. Yeah. So I think like a little more funding in the schools and our communities will definitely.
And I think so too, what you said, with like the kids being our future. I feel like that we have to do better as in starting with the kids younger, because these kids graduating from high school and have absolutely no idea about going to college and never even thought about it because nobody's talking to them. Like, they going through these 4 years in high school and just going through the years. Nobody's, telling them, oh, you need to apply for financial aid, you need to apply for these scholarships. There's so many scholarships out here that all you gotta do is write a 5-page essay for, and you get money. And nothing, people don't know that because nobody's telling us. Yeah, nobody's telling these kids that you need to start studying for SAT in your 10th grade and not 12th grade, And then they get out and it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna take a year off to do this. A year turns into 5 turns into I'm gonna just get a job. Turns into, I look for opportunity at this point. So I think we have to start sooner than later as far as like telling kids, like, there's no problem with telling a kid in middle school you need to prepare yourself for college, because you do. Like, all of that time goes by so fast and everybody think that you got time and you really have no time, like, at all. But nobody's at these middle schools talking to these kids. Nobody's in high school talking to these kids.
Or like programs for families. Yeah. So because if families know more, then it's kind of like, okay, well, my mom knows a little bit, because it is hard for a kid to go home and try to talk to them about education when she rarely knows what they're talking about. Yeah, so they don't know either. So lack of resources as far as the parents, again, come from location, you not having the proper resources, funds that you need, so you basically just settle. So your education is gonna stop when you just keep settling.
I think what's wild is LeBron James just opened a school in Akron, and he's paying, like, if like the student's parents didn't get their GED, he's paying for you to get your GED, and then if you complete his school, you're getting a full ride to I think it's Akron.
The college that's there.
Yeah, so that's just one example of, people trying to adjust the educational disparity. And it's gonna take time. Like,
it's something that can be done, it just has to be, a lot of effort has to be put into it.
Yeah, consistency as well. Cause as soon as you see a gap, that's when
it just falls right into it.
You just take 10 steps back.
At this point, looking at everything that happened, like in the last 10 years, we've had an African American president. We've got, both of our legislative representatives here, one in the state of Florida and one up in DC. They're both black, so it's kind of like, at this point, you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Right.
It's about getting the people and the resources together, not so much. It's not about how we do it, because we know what we gotta do.
Right.
We had a first lady, and both the first lady and the president were both lawyers. And President Obama was the most powerful man in the world. So we can do almost anything we put our mind to at this point.
Well, I think
I enjoyed it.
we discussed education disparities very well, and I hope y'all understand everything about it and the content, and us even don't take this video as it's just a video, like try to build on it, or if you even able to help other people or even your younger siblings, like just let them know, make sure they're aware that education regardless is important, and try to prepare them for college. So when they get here, it's all about education. It's not, oh, I need to do this, I need to eat, it's just education. I'm here to get my education, I'm here to build this.
School is your first job.
First job. So thank y'all for watching us.